everybody. Oh, gotta figure out what to do with my hair. Welcome. I just had a shower, so it's all wet and floopy. What do you think? Works for today. Oh, I got stuff on my screen. Welcome. We are getting started soon. Just mucking around with my settings. Make sure that everything is there. Oh, crazy. You can actually do filters. That's insane. Yeah, no, we don't need those. How do I end that? Okay. That's that little guy. Oh, hi. Much brighter. Right on. Okay. We'll just give folks a few minutes to pop on. I actually don't know what time it is because I can't see on my clock at the same time. Cool. Okay. What's going on with my chin today? There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Sex Tuesdays. It is, what day today? It is August. We're getting into fall here where I live, but it's still pretty warm, which is awesome. Welcome to another edition. It's always exciting to be here. As usual, pop your questions in the comments. Let me know if my microphone is working. Say hello. Let me know where you're from. It's always nice to engage with everybody in this format. I am really excited about today's topic, and it's a huge topic that we could talk about for hours and hours and hours, as usual. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. This week, we are talking about Tantra. What is it? What have you heard about it? What do you know about it? What is it actually? And as a trained, certified Tantra coach, how do I use it in my coaching practice? There's many different kinds of Tantra. There's lots of different ways to teach and use Tantra. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about the lineage that I've learned and the tools that I've learned and how I use them in my coaching practice to support mamas to reclaim their sexuality after kids. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Awesome sauceum. I would love to hear if you've popped on. Welcome. Give me a little love in the comments. Let me know my microphone is working. And I'd be really curious to know, maybe I'll even write this myself. What do you know about Tantra? Or want to know about Tantra? There we go. So yeah, let us know. What do you know about Tantra, or what do you want to know about Tantra? All right, let's dive in without further ado. So what is Tantra? I always like to start off by reminding people about Sting. So I think it was in the 90s sometime. Sting, the musician, is really famous for having an interview where he talked about how he and his wife engaged in tantric sex and had really great sexual encounters. And I think there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings about Tantra. Often with many things sexuality related. Sorry, my husband's just next door. Popping in. So, with many things that are sexually related, we tend to get awkward about them. We tend to cast them in a negative light, in a shameful light, or we make assumptions that they're kinky or naughty or all kinds of negative sort of labels. And I've definitely heard that people think of Tantra as, group sex or sex with multiple partners, all kinds of things. I think it's just mostly misunderstood. People don't know what it is, and we can get afraid of what we don't know. So we tend to cast it in a negative light. So I am here today to help shed some light on what Tantra actually is and how we can use it to improve our sex lives. And side note, you can actually use it to improve your whole life. It's not just a sexual tool. So, a bit of background on how I got involved in Tantra and the lineage of Tantra that I learned and teach. So, the Happy Vagina Project actually started about 5 years ago now. I was looking back at my first blog post the other day, which is super exciting. We'll do some celebrating in the fall. And along the process of that journey, I was really trying to figure out how to educate myself on sexuality so that I could support people. Did I want to become an educator? Did I want to become a therapist? Did I want to become a coach? What avenues existed? And I came across Davey Ward, who's now the owner of the Institute for Authentic Tantra Education. And I found this program that she taught. And the thing that really drew me to it was its holistic approach. So I just found going the university route or the Western route, everything was very siloed, and you either sort of learn about like physical bodies and medical conditions, or you learn about emotional stuff, and there's not ever a putting everything together. And there isn't often a space to talk about the spiritual piece and the cultural piece. So I really liked that the approach that she was teaching and the approach that she spoke of was quite holistic. It looked at the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the cultural, and how all of these things blend together. So that is how I got involved in becoming a certified Tantra coach. And, it was kind of by accident. I definitely had my trepidations in the beginning, and it really turned out to be the right path for me. So I'm quite grateful for that. So I practice a lineage of Tantra. I'm just making sure my plugged in. I practice the lineage of Tantra that is from Tibet. It's based in Tibetan Buddhism. It is from the Shagpu Kagya Valley in Tibet. And there are many different variations of Tantra that come from different lineages. So that is my lineage, and it has its own unique flavor and its own unique practices. There can be similarities between them, but this is the one that I learned. And there's a couple of unique distinctions to it. Tantra itself simply means to weave light and sound with form. To weave light and sound with form. So what does that actually mean? Well, essentially the way I boil it down is it is an energy practice. It's a healing practice. And in order to, the energy tools use light, sound, and form. And there's many different dimensions to it. I learned some pieces, right? But there's physical practices that we do called sutras, where we might massage our bodies, our genitals in different ways. And then to make things tantric, we need to add the energy element, the energetic element. So in the lineage that I learned, we basically work with the power of the 5 elements. And there's elements in Chinese medicine practice, there's elements in other medicine practice. They're all slightly different. So the elements that I learned to work with in this lineage of Tantra are fire, earth, space, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, space, and water. They all have a shape, a color, and a sound. And when we meditate on that shape, color, and sound together, we create tantric energy. We create tantric healing energy. And we basically activate the healing energy of that element. So each of the elements has a root sort of poison or emotion that it heals. It has a root knowledge or wisdom that it brings to us. It has physical, like parts of the body that it heals, and it has qualities that it brings to us. And I won't go through the whole list today. You can always send me a note in the comment or send me an email if you want to know more about the tantric elements. But essentially when we meditate on them, when we call on the light, form, and sound of each of these elements, we bring forth those healing powers. And the one that we most often use with our clients when it comes to sexuality is fire element. Fire element lives in the sacrum. It's a red pyramid. Its sound is Ram, R-A-M, and it heals attachment. So if we're feeling too attached to things, we're getting grabby about people or places or things in our lives. It can allow us to sort of let that go. And it has a magnetic attraction energy. So if we're trying to call things in, we can meditate on this energy. So with things Tantra, we can use these tools sexually and we can use them non-sexually. So from a non-sexual perspective, we can heal attachment in our lives. We can call in money, relationships, things, energies, emotions, right? We can heal pelvic pain. We can heal, the parts of the body that are governed by that element. So fire element governs like the digestive fires and the reproductive organs. So we can call on those healing practices in a completely non-sexual way. And meditating on them, like all meditation, is very calming, very grounding, and very wonderful experience. In a sexual way, we can use all 5 of the elements, not just fire element, to heal sexual blocks. And so this is a lot to get into in a kind of a quick and dirty call like this, but the idea being that when you're having stress in your life, right, you feel that on an emotional level. That's in your energy body. Your energy body is like, if you imagine your nervous system, it's just a different set of pathways that your energy moves around in. And emotions are energy in motion. So those emotions are moving around. They can impact your muscular system. They can impact your circulatory system. They can impact your nervous system. And that can create tension in your shoulders. It can create pain and numbness. And that can happen in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your arms, in your legs, in your vagina, in your penis, right? Any part of your body. So when we're experiencing emotional blocks that lead to like physical and nervous system blocks, we can use energy to heal those blocks, release muscular tension, release those emotions, and open back up into what we want to feel. So again, we can do this non-sexually, but the power of them it's fascinating to me anyways in my experience has been how we use them sexually, right? So that is what Tantra is. It means to weave light and sound with form. It's basically a energetic and hands-on practice that we can use to call in the powers of the 5 elements to heal our physical bodies, heal our emotional bodies, bring clarity and wisdom to our lives, and at the heart of it, heal all those blocks that are getting in the way of us living the most authentic version of ourselves that we can be in the world. That's a tiny little introduction to Tantra. There's so much more to know. If you want to learn more, put a little note in the comments for me, even if you're watching the replay, and say, I want to learn more, or DM me or send me a note on Facebook. If you guys are interested, I will definitely do more lives, more workshops on this topic. It's pretty fascinating. There's also very spiritual dimensions to Tantra, and there's also this notion that, orgasm, is a taste of enlightenment. And so if we can learn to expand orgasm, expand pleasure, we can walk around all the time in a state of enlightenment and pleasure, right? So that's where these tools really came from. These tools are 2,500 years old. They're well practiced. They're well founded, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who've been practicing these tools over millennia can share of their powers and their impacts on their lives. And I can definitely share the impact that it has had on my life. So how do I use these tools in my sessions with clients? What does that look like? Do you need to be an energy healer person to work with me? What if you don't like breath work, right? How does that all look and work? So Tantric practitioners come in many different shapes and forms. Some of them are educators. Some of them are hands-on practitioners, and everything in between. So educators, like me, are mostly focused on teaching you the specific tools that you can use on yourself to experience sexual healing, to experience a healing of those energetic blocks, to reduce pain, bring about full sensation, feel deep connection with your partner, and reconnect with yourself. So I teach you the tools. I show you on a little model. I teach you breathwork tools, I teach you meditation tools, I teach you dance and movement tools, and you implement those on your own. Physical practitioners or hands-on practitioners will actually do the work on you. They will massage you, they will do the energy work with you and on you for that added layer of support. That is not what I do. I teach you to learn how to use these tools on yourself and on your partner. So what are the tools that I teach that are tantric? Well, at the heart of it, we basically use 4 what we call power tools to break through all of those blocks that are gunking you up. I often talk about that junk in the trunk, like those brain gremlins that are preventing you from feeling free and open and fun in your sexuality, right? So one of those tools is meditation. We can go super all the way formal elemental meditations, and we can just visualize some red light in your vagina while you're masturbating or having sex. So there's very formal practice, and there's easy ways to embed some of these tools into your practice without going the full meal deal. So depending on your experience with energy work, depending on your comfort level with meditation and your awareness level of meditation, we can go small and we can go big with those tools. We also can do movement practice. This is not something I do with everybody. It really depends on where they're at and what their needs are. But there's 4 different sort of movements that we do with the hips. We're not talking about Beyonce choreography, as I always like to say. And we can call in and work with the healing powers of each element when we move our body in a certain way. So that helps clients to loosen up the hips, loosen up the muscles, relax into that part of the body, which makes way for more pleasure to move and for more energy to be released. And the 2 others are around connection and pleasure. So definitely we use dialogue and we talk about our relationship to pleasure. We talk about our relationship to connection. We do breathwork tools that connect us with ourselves, tune us in, and allow us to open out into pleasure instead of constricting into pleasure. Breathwork tools that allow us to feel a deep, and I can attest to this, like immediate sense of connection with our partner, right? So instead of being lost in our brains, we are in with each other and having what I know many of you are craving, right? Is that deep sense of oneness and connection with each other. Also tools for manipulating that sexual energy, working with the elements, working with energy work while you're having sex is what helps us to expand into this more ethereal, spiritual type of bliss. And that takes more practice. It takes more commitment. But I have clients who have been to the moon and to the stars and to some very ethereal places by using some of these practices. And then our relationship to pleasure is a lot about noticing, right? Tuning back into the body, noticing our desires, noticing our needs. So those are some of the things that I work with clients on. I also have tools for setting up a tantric space, which really is just about setting up a space that has intention and energy that supports relaxation and pleasure. Sexual communication, how to talk to your partner, all kinds of things. But the energy work piece is one of the biggest tools that we use to heal that pain, create more aliveness, and wake up the libido. That's something I haven't really touched on yet, but especially that fire element, it wakes up the libido. So that's my quick and dirty today. I hope that this has helped you to understand a little bit more about what Tantra is and how I use it with my clients. I also use a whole other range of tools, and we basically blend Tantra with somatic healing techniques, which that's a whole other video topic. And I like to say to people that basically I have like a medicine chest of activities and tools and exercises, from breathwork and meditation to journaling and reflection, that will support you to Get rid of those brain gremlins like we were talking about last week in the spectatoring episode, and tune back into your arousal and your, what did we call it? Your arousal cues, essentially. Getting out of the brain and into the body. Tantra is about an embodied practice. And for a lot of us who are very science focused and very like rationale Western pieces, getting back into the body is the invitation, right? So if this sounds like something you're interested in exploring, if you just want to learn more, couple of things you can do. Definitely let me know if you want to see more content about Tantra. I'm totally happy to do some longer form things about this. We could do a workshop, we could do masterclass, we could do all kinds of things. 2, if you're feeling called to do so, if you're feeling like you've got some pain happening during intercourse, you're feeling like those brain gremlins are just holding you back and you can't seem to get in the mood, or things don't like feel right when you're having sex, or you are yearning for more connection with your partner, then hit up my website, thehappyvaginaproject.com, and sign yourself up for a discovery call. Let's chat about what's going on for you and how I may be able to support you one-on-one. That is all for today. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Sex Tuesdays. I will see you next week. I don't have a topic yet, so watch the Facebook feed and Instagram for what's coming up next. Thanks.